This is the MLW Radio Network. This is the Mind of the Meanie. Here are your hosts, the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard.
Peace, world, and welcome everybody to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I am a very sweaty Adam Barnard, and he is an equally as sweaty Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's on your mind?
It's a beautiful day in South Philly, and it is fucking hot.
Yeah.
A little inside baseball. I try to keep air conditioning limited to one room. Because I'm a cheapo. But yeah, I like to sleep comfortably. So we have AC in the bedroom, and I left the comforts of my air conditioned bedroom to come down to DeMeanie studios and record this fine program today. In which, when I'm done, I'm going right back to that fucking air conditioning. Oh man, dude, like it's so hot. Like there's a Dunkin' a drive-through Dunkin' Donuts near my house, and I'll go through and I'll open up that fucking window, and that blast of cold air comes from their store into my. I'm like, can you put a cup of that air conditioning? Can you put that air conditioning in the cup and fucking let me. I got air conditioning in my car, but it's not that fucking cold, and sometimes it likes to fucking shit out on me, and like my air conditioner goes, "You've had enough." And, sometimes my car will smell like a defrosted refrigerator when the AC. It's like, oh
man, dude.
But it is warm. I just try to put in a fan for some sort of relief, but we'll see how it works.
Yeah, it's I have a fan. I have a stand-up fan standing next to me that is blowing the air onto me. So you may hear some wind on the microphone, but it's way too fucking hot to sit here. So like we have these big windows in my room. I don't know. Anyone who's watching right now, you can see me pointing at one of the windows here on patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. But there's these big windows back here on either, like right in front of me, and it's just sunshine all morning, and it's facing east. So, sun's rising in the east. So the afternoon isn't too bad. But holy shit, man, it is fucking hot today. It's already 77 degrees here in Downingtown. I can't even imagine. It's probably 10 degrees hotter in Philadelphia. So
it's fairly early, so it's going to get fucking worse.
Yeah, it's going to get brutal.
I'd rather be too hot than too cold. So
facts, dude. Facts. I would rather be sweating my ass off than cold. I prefer the heat over the cold. But like even walking to work when I'm down in the city, my shoot job, I walk west, so the sun is just like beating on my back. And then when I leave to go back to the train, it's beating on my back again because I'm walking east, and it's like, fuck, man, I just can't. Like wearing black is just like putting my life in my own hands. It's just horrific. So, but what's not horrific, friends, is the Pod Squad's here with us again today. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Go, like I said, don't forget, sign up right now. Patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. We have lots of really great tiers, really affordable stuff, and you get to hang out with us and watch us record this show. So, Meanie, I guess we can start with this at the top of the show.
Yes.
I secured the bag this morning because we put a poll on our Twitter account at Mind of the Meanie, and so Philadelphia, or I guess Herr's, which is a chip company in Philadelphia here, has specific flavors that are like brand new. And I haven't tried any of these yet, and I know Meanie has. But I figured, I'm going to give him a shot on the show.
Well, look. I'm from Philly, and I'm a fat guy. And they made Philly fat guy chips, and I can't fucking wait. So I've tried every single one of those Philly specific chips.
Now I want you to withhold your thoughts on it and your favorite until I'm done, because I'm going to do this live on here. And Camerata, holy shit, Camerata said it's going to be 112 today in Phoenix. Jesus Christ, dude. Stay hydrated. Stay out of the fucking sun, man, any chance you get. So the poll today, I think we had like 40 or 50 votes. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Mind of the Meanie. Let me pull it up right now, the poll results. We put it up yesterday because we're recording today. Full disclosure, we are recording right now. It is Saturday, July 26th, in the year of our Lord 2022. And we had 44 votes, and 47.7% went to Long Hots and Sharp Provolone, which is the first one I'm going to try. And we're just going to take it right down the line here. I'm not sure what to expect with this, but let's give it a shot. What up, Vanessa? Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Her's chips are fucking great, dude. Have you ever done the tour? You ever done the tour down there at the actual factory?
No, I wish.
Pretty rad, dude.
I want to go there. I want to go to the Tasty Cake Factory.
Yes. Maybe that should be content for Mind of the Meanie. Mind of the Meanie patrons. All right, this is the Long Hots and Sharp Provolone. Let's give it a try. That's actually not bad. Taste is pretty close to it, what I would imagine.
It'll kick in.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's got a little kick at the end there. Yeah, there it is. Holy shit. That's actually pretty good. I wasn't sure. I was a little concerned about, like, just the taste together, you know? Because usually you put Long Hots on the roast pork, right?
You could put it on anything, really. Cheesesteak, on roast pork, cheesesteaks. That's
actually really good. I'm like,
I almost want to say Long Hots are. I'm sure other fucking cities in the United States have Long Hots, but it's a distinctly Philadelphia thing.
The balance of it is really nice too, because you get the heat right at the end there, but like you get that cheese flavor right at the beginning. That was actually really good.
I also like to say that like provolone is pretty much like a distinctly Philadelphia thing.
Yeah,
you know, if you go, because everybody goes, oh, where you get on your cheesesteak? I fucking get provolone.
Right,
get some sharp provolone on there. It's either sharp or mild. You know.
Yeah, you get the sharp kind.
Oh yeah, sharp all the way. Sharp the world.
We had 29.5% with the 215 special sauce, which is ketchup, salt and pepper, and hot sauce. I'm not sure about this one.
I will watch in amusement.
Oh man, that's not watching amusement. That's an ominous comment. Here we go. Let's get a good one in here. Trying to get my fat fingers in there.
I got my fat fingers in there. You're good.
It's like tomato soup. And it's hot.
That one's good. It's hot. And it's kind of like eating Cheetos because your fingers turn red from the fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have told you to get some fucking wet wipes or something.
I got wet wipes over here in the baby station. I'll get them in a minute. But that's hot. That's hotter than the Long Hots.
Give me that wet wipe, fucking baby.
Hey, baby, give me that wet wipe.
Yeah,
that's actually
baby. Stop selling crack. Dave Chappelle skit. Oh, baby on the corner selling crack. I went, hey, baby,
stop selling crack.
He said, motherfucker, I got kids to feed. I said, what the fuck?
This is the premium content you're paying for right now on Patreon.com. This is fun, man. No, I'm having a good time. And now, I guess Whiz Wit, we had...
As you listen to Adam eat chips and me clear my throat. Let me clear my throat.
We brought it full circle, folks. Full circle. Yes. Every time it's on in the car, when I have it on Sirius, I'll send Meanie a picture of it or I'll tag him on Instagram.
That's great.
22.7 Whiz Wit. And I don't know why this got the lowest, but I'm actually I feel like I'm most excited to try this one. But
yes,
let's give it a shot here. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a nice fat one for the fat guy. That just tastes like their sour cream or no, their cheddar cheese chips.
Yeah.
There's no. See, that's disappointing.
As a Philadelphian,
that's disappointing.
I like to protest Cheese Whiz.
Yeah.
So that's like a tourist thing, you know.
Yeah, I've gotten away from that. I'll either do like American or I'll do provolone, depending on where I go. Because people make it different than other places, so I tried them all. So some places I'll be like, like if I go to Cleaver's and I want to get like a better, like a higher class one, I'll kind of swap it up. But if I'm at like Jim's, I'll, give me provolone with, That was disappointing. That last chip was fucking disappointing. The Whiz Whip. That was not what I thought it was going to be. So I would say my favorite, honestly, and the winner, as far as like taste, was probably the Long Hots, man. I think those are my favorite.
Same.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a fucking provolone mark. So I definitely I preferred that one. I like the ketchup ones, but they do get a little bit hot, and fucking your hand turns red. It's like, what the fuck? It's a bit of a chore to eat those. They're good, but they're a chore. So, and then like you said, with the cheese, the Whiz Wit, it's basically just cheddar potato chips. So
right. It wasn't.
Like,
It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought there was going to be like a really heavy taste to it, like an actual cheesesteak, but that definitely wasn't. I think unfortunately too, because like Philly stuff, it's like everybody's like, oh, like not to talk politics, but like Dr. Oz was just here. Yo, cuz, you gonna slip me a bone? I got to go down to Wawa and get some Newports. Yo, cuz. But
I'm going down to Broad and Shunk and go bow hunting. Stand in the corner and go, hey, Bo, yo, Bo. Yo, what up, Bo?
Yo, cuz. But it's the YEO. Yo, cuz.
Yo.
Or the Acme. We posted that on our Twitter the other day, and that one got a nice pop. Acme.
Salmon. Yo.
Yo, cuz. And it's always, they all talk like this. They all have the same accent the whole way. And it's always the same thing. Gonna go down there to Philadelphia, get some water.
Yeah.
No, that was disappointing, that last one. But no, I think the cheesesteak thing, like I said, I think it's just like, it's a Philly thing. Like it's like, oh, you're from Philly, get a cheesesteak. It's just like that. Not everything needs to be a flavor. Like it should be an experience.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, basically the cheesesteak was created, the urban legend, I don't know if it's a fact or not, but the cheesesteak was created on the corner where Pat's and Gino's is.
Really?
So, like, yeah, I think the corner where Pat's is where somebody started making the first cheesesteak back in whatever fucking year. And that's the attraction of that area.
Interesting.
I mean, Pat, but, dude, you could throw a rock in South Philly and hit a good cheesesteak place.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know why. Like somebody would bother even opening a fucking chain store in South Philly between good pizza, good cheesesteaks, good hoagies. If you want to go hoagie, go to My Pals. You want to go cheesesteak, you could go to Phil's or Pat's, Gino's, and Tony Luke's, which is they're changing their name, unfortunately. But
I was just going to bring that up. Tony Luke's is now going to be, what's the new name?
Tony and Nick's, or Nick Tony's. Which it's unfortunate. They had a Tony Luke Sr. and his son Nicky had a falling out with Tony Luke Jr., which you could go read about it. Yeah, I'm friends with all of them, so I'm not even really going to.
Right, not going to comment too much.
Nah, it's a shame when you see family break up like that over business.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, that kind of shit happens, man. But
Tony Luke's used to be a fucking lunch truck, on that corner. And then, I moved back to South Philly in about 95, right before I started with ECW. There was commercials for Tony Luke's on TV, on the local cable. And that was just became a place to go to after ECW shows. And now it's a place everybody goes to before a sporting event or a concert and after a sporting event, because it's like, 2 turns away from the fucking ballpark,
right?
And the stadium district. But yeah, it's a shame. I was driving by the other day and it just had Tony on the front, and I was like, maybe they're getting new lights. But then you look and inspect closer, and then the awning on the outside, like they have like a little porched in section,
right?
And they took Luke's off that too. I was like, oh man, something's up. And then the Philadelphia Inquirer just put out a news article over the split. So
yeah, it looks like it's from CBS Philly. Just in case anybody's paying attention and wants to know about the story, it looks like there was a falling out that led the father and the son, one of the sons, in trouble with the IRS. They pleaded guilty to conspiracy to defraud the IRS by concealing sales and paying employees off the book Luke Jr. split from the father and the brother in 2015 and operates franchises in multiple states. So I think he's keeping the name, right? Am I understanding that correctly? Tony Luke Jr. is keeping the name, and the father and son, the other one, Tony Sr. and Nick, are keeping the original location.
Yeah.
So that's a shame, man. I mean, it's like Tony Luke's, that's like a staple in Philadelphia, the name, so it's a shame, but I mean, it's, like you said, it's hard to, with that kind of thing, business and family, it's never really a good thing.
No. It's like, there's always that saying, never go into business with family,
Right.
Family will fuck you first.
Right.
Dude, I had a falling out with a relative. I had a falling out with an uncle over, I was renting an apartment from him. And it's like, things start, slipping. It's like, hey, can you fix this, fix that? Yeah, I'll get to it. And, oh, he's family. He can wait. It's like, no. And then you start withholding the rent check until shit gets fixed. And then it's like, you learn a lesson, don't deal with family when it comes to business. So,
yeah,
because family will always be like, So.
That's a shame.
But yeah, the Tony Luke's thing is very unfortunate.
What's not unfortunate, though, is I'm looking over your left shoulder. Is that Pee Wee Herman?
Oh, yeah.
Is that one of the original ones from like the 80s? The one that you that had the pull string and talk on it? Incredible.
Yeah, that's Mrs. Meanie's.
Absolutely incredible. I had the whole set of them when I was a kid with the chair and Pee Wee.
We found that at a thrift store.
Really?
Yeah. There's I'll give them a plug because it's real. There's a thrift store right off of South Street. I want to say 5th and South, like 2 blocks over. It's called Philly AIDS Thrift. It's a charity. So everything you buy there, they donate money to AIDS research.
Cool.
They've been around forever. And I love going in there because, one of the dudes who works in there is a big wrestling fan. So they get a lot of cool wrestling shit in there too.
That's awesome.
And I'm due to make a donation to that fucking place. Like, hey, here's all my wrestling shirts. But yeah, Mrs. Meanie found that Pee Wee Herman doll.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we had to get it. Fucking Pee Wee Herman put her over on his social media one day.
I remembered that. I remember that tweet. Yeah. It was about that, wasn't it?
It was no. Well, she likes to make vests. Like
that's right.
She'll decorate, and she has a zombie vest.
Hey, zombie.
Sorry. Yeah, you got a zombie. She made a custom zombie vest that when you close it looks like the box.
Right.
And she had a zombie shirt made, so when you open up, it's zombie's face.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, Pee Wee saw it and then posted it. Took a screenshot and posted it on all of his social media. So like she was like, "Oh my God, Pee Wee Herman has me saved in his phone." It's kind of humble brag. You know? But she's so talented.
Yeah, yeah. Those vests are really cool, man. I really enjoyed seeing the stuff that she posts. Yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've ever found at a thrift store? Have you ever found anything like super cool, or a Goodwill or anything like that?
I'm off the top of my head, probably one of the coolest thing is, do you remember the cartoon series Strong Bad?
Vaguely.
Okay. It's like a guy with a lucha mask and boxing gloves, whatever. And he talks like this. But he would always talk about like hair metal bands. But they had the cartoon had a fictional hair metal band called Limousine. And it was spelled like Limozeen. And we were in some thrift store one day. I found a fake tour shirt for Limousine. I grabbed it, oh, holy shit, and showed it to her, and she's like, oh my God. And she fucking grabbed it and bought it.
That's awesome. So
that's pretty cool. I used to love going to thrift stores, but like they stopped selling stuff my size, and I don't know if they're hoarding the good stuff for themselves. Back in the day, you could find like a really cool, like, sports apparel, like either Phillies or Eagles or
right,
whatever, stadium giveaway that somebody don't want anymore because like the Flyers will always put out, really cool shirts.
Yeah.
Like I got the one with oh my God, what's this? The one Flyer guy who he got into a fight and then he did the fucking Hulk Hogan put his hand up to his ear, and they made a shirt of that. And then the next game they had Hulk Hogan on the big fucking screen.
Oh no shit!
It was pretty fucking amazing.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Oh, it was the series against Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Penguins fan had a super fan who dressed like Hulk Hogan. So I wish I can remember that. The guy was a ginger, redheaded, curly hair. He got into a fight and right in front of the Hulk Hogan fan, put his hand up to his ear and did the Hulk Hogan. So they made shirts. I want to say Scott Hartnell, but I'm sure I'm wrong. But yeah, it was great. I got one of those, and they had a couple cool shirts. The Flyers always put out good shirts.
Trying to look it up.
And you always found them at the Goodwill, when somebody was, done with their collection.
It was Scott Hartnell. I'm looking at the photo right now. There was a fan, unfortunately, who's passed away. His name was Cy Clark, and he was. Oh my God! Look at this. Yeah, what you gonna do? From the Flyers 2012 playoffs. No shit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I scored one of those.
That's awesome, man. I have to, if you find one of those, let me know. I would love to have one because that shit's great. Yeah. One of my favorite like Philadelphia specific shirts is a shirt from, I think we've talked about it before. It's from a group called Heavy Slime. They're fantastic. Based out of Philadelphia. And they made this shirt. It's like this, Grim Reaper holding, what do they call it? The sick. What is it? The sickle. Right. And it's like, what does it say? No one likes us. We don't care. And then at the bottom, it says bad things happen in Philadelphia. And it's this gray shirt. It's fucking, dude, it's so good, man. Some of the shit that he has, it's like Philly specific. It was like stop building ugly condos. The 676 river, like when I had one of those, it was like this mustard yellow color. It didn't look great on me. But then the other one I have, it's an Eagle shirt and it's from 2021. And I'm losing weight to try to wear it again. But it says, it's a Eagles like design. And it says ready for pain and suffering. And at the bottom it says Dallas sucks. And so I'm going to pick one he does it every year when the Eagles start. So when it happens again, I'm going to pick one up for you and send it your way. But yeah, I'd love to. That Philly stuff is just, it's so good, man. But there used to
be a lot of good Philly specific stores, back in the day. They kind of like dried up. I used to go to a place called Cheesesteak Teas, which was really good.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm sure there's still a thing, but they used to have an actual store on South Street. You can go walk in and buy shit.
No shit.
Yeah, but they had a really cool gray shirt with it was blueprint, and it was like Jesus on the cloud says Jesus hates the Cowboys.
Which is fact. Scripture foretold this, folks. Dallas sucks.
Yeah,
it's in the Bible.
You know what's worse than a Dallas Cowboys fan?
What's that?
A Dallas Cowboys fan from New Jersey.
Yes. Dude.
Or South Philly.
I was just going to say, Dallas Cowboy fans in fucking Philadelphia, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Why? Go, just stop.
Yeah. Fucking, it's, I call them cockroaches. When the Cowboys, because when the Cowboys are bad, you can't fucking find one, right?
No.
They start doing good. Oh my God, they come out like they come out like cockroaches. Oh, it's our year. It's been your year since '96.
The last time you guys won a fucking Super Bowl, it was released on VHS.
Yeah, when I had my natural hair color, and I was in. Yeah,
I was in fucking grade school.
I was just starting my wrestling career. But at that point,
Dallas sucks.
Oh my
forever
God.
And ever.
What
Amen.
I like to do when, because Nova, from the BWO, Nova is a Cowboys fan, unfortunately.
We'll let him pass because he's part of we give him a pass. He's a part of the Blue World Order. We'll give him a pass.
So hard not to turn on him. So hard not to turn.
He's a heel now.
Mid-match. And his twin brother, Donnie B, is a Giants fan. So anytime... And I could get the Giants thinking that they're in Jersey, Tom's River. That's right down the road. But anytime the Giants and Cowboys play each other, I just look at both their I put up their Facebook pages right next to each other, and we call it the Bucci Bowl. Mike Bucci, Don Bucci,
right?
The Bucci Bowl, and I just watch them talk shit. It's so fucking great.
My brother Matt was always like a Cowboys fan, but he's a front runner, right? So like it was always like the Chicago Bulls or the Dallas Cowboys, and every fucking year, man, every year they would win, he would just start with that shit. And we were kids, so like we would break each other's balls about it, but it was just like, what the fuck, dude? Why?
Here's the pecking order for a Cowboys fan, right? The Cowboys like the Cowboys. They like the Lakers.
That's it.
They like the Yankees. And they probably like the Penguins.
The fucking Penguins. Yankees. Yeah, I guess, well, they were like the best team in hockey for a while, right? Yeah.
Oh, dude, they were winning the Stanley Cup like every other year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they pick every... It's like, my first team starter kit. Let me pick that out.
I'm new to sports.
Excuse me, waiter. I will take one Cowboys, one Lakers,
and a double order of the Yankees, please.
Fucking Yankees.
God damn. I don't know if there's another team that I hate more than... And I fucking love New York. Like, don't get me wrong. I love New York City. I love the boroughs. I love going there. Love everything about it, except for the fucking Yankees. Because Yankees fans are worse than Philly fans.
If I could just teleport there,
yes,
that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
I hate driving to New York. I hate driving in New York. When we go to Connecticut, I drive around New York. Like I'll go Turnpike, Garden State, Tappan Zee, and then you're back on 95. I will just avoid. Now on the way back, I'll fucking go through New York because you don't have to pay the toll the one way.
Right.
Yeah. I always say, Jersey's the word. Jersey's the one state where they charge people to leave and people gladly pay it. To go into New Jersey's free, but they make you pay to leave. That's how bad the fucking state is.
Honestly,
people are like, yeah, $13. All right, sure. All right, just get me the fuck out of here. Going over to George Washington, and that's also part why I go around because the fucking George Washington Bridge is like $15 one way. God damn.
Yeah. Well, goddamn. We just drove. Goddamn. What the fuck? We just actually drove. Shout out to Jim Cornette and Brian Last, friends of the show. Yes. We just drove. We went there twice in a couple of weeks. Like, so Memorial Day weekend, when I was transitioning my shoot jobs, we drove up to, where did we go? We went to Rockefeller Center. And it was fucking breeze, like a breeze getting up there. No issues. Got right into the city, parked right next to Rockefeller Center, took the kids, we took them to the Lego store. It was fucking great. 2 weeks later, we went back to take them to Central Park, and it was a fucking disaster. Like, the kids were just miserable. It was hot. Like, we were trying to find playgrounds, but every time we would walk somewhere, we'd basically be walking in circles, and it was just like, well, fuck, I'm just going to leave. The only bright spot was we saw Spike Lee in the park, and I gave him a fist bump, so that was cool. So, nice. That was really cool. So, but yeah, it was just like driving there was a nightmare. We were trying everything we could not to get onto the George Washington, and we ended up on the fucking George Washington Bridge, which is just, the only thing worse than being on the George Washington Bridge is being on the fucking Beltway. Absolutely nothing worse than the Beltway in DC. Holy shit. Yeah. Going from you go from downtown to the opposite way. We had this little Airbnb when we were down there a couple years ago. And we went one place. It took us 45 minutes to get back, and it was only literally like a mile and a half. And it was just a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the fucking Dallas sucks. We can just put that as scripture. Dallas is the worst. This is actually, I know we were talking about this earlier, speaking of Philadelphia stuff, kind of circle back. This is the first caffeine I've had in a month because I've been doing something called an elimination diet.
I would eliminate that diet from your fucking plan if you fucking drink coffee. What the fuck?
Well, it's bad. So my trainer, Brad Feinberg, who's been helping me get back into shape, had basically, so I've been having skin issues and stomach issues. So he's basically for the next 30 days, you got to eat just this stuff. So that way we can figure out if there's any inflammation or if there's any issues inside, and then start adding stuff back in. So today was like, the coffee day. And now I'm like wired because I haven't had caffeine in a fucking month. And I feel like if I do any more, it's going to be akin to what it's like to be on cocaine, which I've never done. But I feel like right now I'm like riding lightning. So
that's like the one drug where I'm like, nah, I'm good. I always hear stories about like Len Bias took his first fucking line of cocaine and fucking died. It's like, oh, I'm good.
No, thank you. Especially the shit that's in the street right now, dude. Like, why would you want to do that? All right. There's ninjas on the lawn. Everything's crazy. Yeah, like, no thanks, dude. Yeah. Watching those videos from the 70s, the dance videos where they're all just like wide-eyed and just fucking dead. Like, who thought this was fun? Like, did anybody actually have fun at this time, or are you guys all just lying?
A little bit of the disco nose.
Yes. A little bit of the disco nose.
Snorting of the booger sugar.
I was just going to say, they used to call them shark fins in Westchester. You got a shark fin?
Oh, okay.
What?
I never heard that one before.
Yeah, I guess because of the peak. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just was like, I never got down with any of that stuff, man. Never. No pills, no powder, no needles. That shit just never sounded anywhere near fun. So
I'm too fucking cheap to be addicted to anything anyway.
Yeah, no, the
only reason why I smoked pot is because somebody was like, "Oh, you want to try this?" All right,
Yeah, I'm not thrilled. Not going to do that. I smoke. No, I mean, I smoked in college and shit like that, and up until like my wife and I got together when we started dating. My buddy brought a bubbler back from Hong Kong. It was the worst fucking night of my life. Right, first time we smoked out of it was fine, and then a couple weeks later, I went back to his house, and we used to start the night with shots of was it Seagram's? Seagram's, was it some kind of whiskey? Maybe not Seagram's. Right. I don't remember. I take these shots out of these little like glass cowboy boots, right? And then we would smoke out of this bubbler, and I was fucked up, right? And he's like, "Oh, let's watch Lost." Dope. Let's do it. It's the first fucking episode with the plane crash scene. It's like super aggressively traumatic. And I'm just fucking spinning out like crazy, dude. I'm like, I got to get the fuck out. It was the worst night of my life. I'm just sick all over the road. I'm like, this is just fucking terrible. Never again, man. Never again did I mix them.
One of the best pot smoking experiences I probably had was at ICP's Gathering of the Juggalos.
Oh, no.
They booked me for that. And, fucking when the show's not on, just walk around the campground. This one was in, I want to say, right outside Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 nights before Grand American Bash, yeah. And I wrestled on the show, and I'm just walking around the campground. And, people are just like, having fun. I'll say that. Guy's like, Meanie, hey, come over here. I'm from BC. Try this. And he had a fucking machine. Like, you pushed on the button, it heated up the weed and shot the smoke down your fucking throat.
Oh, my God. Really?
You just open your mouth, and it just...
Oh.
And I was like, oh, fuck. And then later, I went back to where the wrestlers and stuff hung out, and then rode around in a golf cart with Violent J around the campground.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's just driving, and I'm fucking stoned, just trying to fucking hang on. I wish there was like a GoPro camera on us. He had his makeup off. He had a wig on to be incognito, but everybody knew it was fucking him. And we're just going up and down these hills and driving around and around. And I'm just like, oh, it's just like it's that video when when the people are on the boat and it's shaking and they're just like, and then the one person falls over. Oh man,
I don't know if this person wants me to mention their name, so I won't. But they brought back some kind of weed from somewhere, and I won't say where because it might get them in trouble. But it smelled and it like. The aftertaste was almost like peach iced tea, and it was really good. But I was so fucking high, I just laid on the floor for like an hour. Like I only took a couple hits off it, and then I was just like laying there, like I can't feel my extremities right now. This is not good. Jack Gray said the worst side effect of pot is the shame you feel after inhaling an entire pizza because you have the munchies. There's no shame in that, man. There's no shame in that.
I don't need weed for that.
Right, I'll do it right now. I'm going to do it next week.
My favorite George Carlin bit, he's like, did you ever just like eat a whole fucking box of cookies? I mean, he goes, just stand in your kitchen, stare at the clock, and eat an entire box of cookies. I was like, how does this man know me? It's like,
he's literally in my head.
And was George Carlin looking through my kitchen window at the clock and just fucking ate an entire box of cookies?
It's so good, man. It's so good.
Man.
I just, I don't need to be stoned to do any of that stuff. Like, if I'm going to eat and I want to do it, I'm just going to do it because I try not to, like right now, like I have like fitness goals, but like usually I'm just like, whatever, once I'm at that point, if it's once every couple of weeks, it's like, yeah, I'm just going to I'm going to do it, but
yeah. And shout out to Jack Gray for having such a fucking strong name.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like legit sounds like Secretary of State.
Yeah. We were saying this in the pre-show. It's like, that is a fucking strong name. Like, yeah, go to patreon.com/mindthemeanie so you can just watch this bullshit. Yeah, bullshit more than we do on here. And it's like Jack Gray, man. That's like a fucking novel.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who writes? Oh my god, what's the? I don't know, but I can see Jack Gray on a slogan, like a fucking campaign thing says Jack Gray gets shit done.
That's right.
That is a fucking strong name.
Jack Gray is the person who, he solidified world peace. That's the kind of name. That's a strong fucking name right there. So Jack Gray, you should be proud of yourself. I want to get it on a shirt. I think we can probably do that. We can maybe do that for our patrons. Jack Gray, get shit done.
Get shit done.
Pointing at the camera. Almost like what's his name? What's his name? Paul Ellering holding the newspaper, right? Yeah. Just smack it in his hand, just like that. That's literally what I'm envisioning right now. So, Schlichter, let's chat about this. But it's been a slow wrestling week because I feel like we should probably touch a little bit on wrestling because that's what people are here for, right?
Should we?
I haven't really. What's been going on? Have you been watching? Has there anything that's been really like striking for you?
Nah, I haven't really watched. Just I don't know what. Raw's too long.
Yeah,
SmackDown's good, but and AEW's all right. It's just I really haven't been following. I've been watching like old shit, but that's about it.
Well, actually, so there's news, rumor, and innuendo, if you will, because I don't want to, mention this person by name because typically he's full of shit. But someone who works for this person tweeted that apparently Raw is going back to TV 14. It was supposed to happen this week, but now they're like, oh, this is going to happen. Maybe, we're not sure. And it's like, okay, well, why report that if it's not confirmed? But anyway, what do you think about Raw potentially going back to TV 14?
Well, it's long overdue.
Yeah.
And I get the whole PG era because, they have, they're a publicly traded company. They have shareholders and stuff like that. But, you can watch any show on TV and see edgy content. You can be edgy in pro wrestling and not be over the top. The Attitude Era was fucking over the top.
Right.
But you can keep it subtle. Have a subtly edgy product and, and not handcuff yourself. It's not worse than, being mad at somebody and you're like, gosh darn it. Not that somebody's said gosh darn it, but
gee whiz.
Keeping a PG is like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's brutal. You're handcuffing yourself, Now it'll be interesting to see what the first dipping the toe into the TV 14 pool would be.
Right.
What would be the introduction to saying, okay, here we go. Let's try somebody going to drop a shit or, not drop a shit, but say shit.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. Oh my God, he dropped a shit in the ring. Who invited Meanie back?
Incredible.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think it's long overdue. And I think that's another, element of, the AEW factor where, you guys, you got a little bit of blood on TV. Guys are saying shit and stuff like that. So, that's what, WCW did to, WWE. They forced them to up their game,
Yeah.
It's definitely long overdue.
I feel like, and speaking of Cornette, he mentioned this on a show this week. I feel like Brock. I guess it was this past week on Monday Night Raw. He said he was going to kick the shit out of somebody or basically give him a shit kicking. And I feel like in those, because Brock is just going to do what Brock wants to do, right? But I feel like in those instances, like it means something. It's more impactful when somebody says something like that as compared to, I don't know. I just feel like, if it's overdone, it's going to be a problem, right? Like the bleeding too. And again, I always feel like I'm shitting on AEW where people think that, and that's not the case. I just think that there's things that can be done better and more succinctly in all companies. But when you overdo something like the blood, I feel like somebody's always bleeding in AEW, right? Somebody's always bleeding. And it's like, I felt like during the Cody and Dustin Rhodes match when they did that, the blood in that match, it made sense, right? Because it's the Rhodes and that's kind of their thing. And, it's advancing a storyline and it's part of the gimmick. But every single time it's like, okay, well, this has lost its edge, right? I don't know how I feel about it on TV necessarily. And how often, there's a lot of variables. Like how often are they going to lean into this? How often are they going to go back to this pool? And does it help the creative? Because if the creative sucks and the creative's really stale, what's it going to do long-term for everybody? But I do think it's a step in the right direction. But do you think it's Vince listening to people? Because Vince doesn't listen to anybody. But do you think maybe it's Bruce, like being like, hey, we should probably think about doing something like this. Like maybe we should return to this. Like, what do you think this stems from?
I don't know. It could just be like, yo, man, we got to switch things up.
Right.
It was G in the 80s, with the say your prayers, eat your vitamins or whatever. And then, the Attitude Era came along as out of necessity because, ECW was doing like great shit and WCW, ECW, I'll always say ECW inspired the Attitude Era.
For sure.
If it forced people to get a little bit more edgy and stuff like that. But the TV 14, just you got to switch things up. You got to change the sheets. You got to freshen things up.
Yeah.
And broaden your palette on which you plan to paint on. As an artist. So as long as it's not abused. And done right. Like I said, I'm tired of seeing a dive in every fucking match.
Oh God, yeah.
A dive should be done out of desperation. Now, if everybody does a dive, it loses its effectiveness.
Right.
Same with swearing and edgy content. You got to just pick your spots.
Right.
So it appears to be more organic. If you're just saying shit to say shit, then it's like, okay, you're a kid.
Right.
It's like a kid going, oh, I said shit. If you fucking say it in a way where you're like, man, he meant that, just be smart about it.
Right. Yeah. Do it properly. Again, there's ways to do it that'll make it impactful, and there's ways to do it that will just make it, and I feel like Brock is someone who knows that, because I feel like that's when he said it, everybody was like, holy shit, like he's serious, but I don't think I don't ever feel like he's overdone it in any way. But yeah, lots of whoop whoops in the chat here talking about the Insane Clown Posse. I love that. So
I knew them before they were Insane Clown Posse.
Really?
Cool. Yeah.
How did you, through wrestling or how?
They were indie wrestlers.
Crazy.
Actually, somebody just put up a tape from Michigan indie that had TV. The opening match was, Violent J he did a military gimmick.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That is cool.
And Violent J was I don't even want, I'm going to botch the name. But and Shaggy Two Dope was a character called the Sewer Dweller or whatever. But yeah, I did shows with him, and then a couple months later, I ran into Jay at another Michigan indie, and he had grown his hair out and had dreadlocks. Oh no, I went to ECW, and he was there, just hanging out. He's like, they were originally the Inner City Posse, and then I forgot what sparked the Insane Clown Posse, but he was there at the ECW arena, with the show, and John Pee Wee Moore, the referee, who was also, I trained with at Al's school, was friends with them because he was from Detroit. And he gave me a couple CDs and shit like that, which was kind of cool.
That is cool.
And then they blew up when the record label dropped them.
Yes,
because they're all. I forget which. Maybe it was Island Records or something like that. Or no, Disney dropped them.
I was going to say, was that around the Great Malenko? Is that the album?
Yeah, I want to say yes. And then they had to re-release it and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I've known them for a while. Yeah, they're good. They're good guys to create their own. They've created their own universe, which is hard to do.
That was the right album. The Great Malenko was released in June 24th, 1997. Originally was supposed to be released by Hollywood Records, which was Disney owned, and they took it off because of the Southern Baptist Church, saying that it wasn't part of the Christian world. Which I mean, all right. Like, just don't fucking listen to it then. Yeah. I don't know. Don't be fucking weird about it.
In the words of George Carlin's words, he's like, the radio has two knobs. One that change the volume and the one that changed the fucking channel. If you don't like it, just change the fucking channel.
It's crazy. Violent J's quote about that time, he says, we spent all that time recording the album, and it was out for half a day. And then it was yanked out of the stores. The tour was canceled. Our in-store tour was canceled. Everything we had was canceled. Imagine, dude. That's crazy. All that money to be put towards a record. Because then, like, what happens? Like, they fronted the money for, does Hollywood ask for, like, the what's the word I'm looking for? Do they ask for that money back?
Yeah. That's where a lot of bands get fucked.
Yeah.
A lot of people call it the Motown deal, where they front you all this money and they fly you all around the world, and it's on your back.
Yeah.
You're expected to pay that money back.
That's what they don't.
So even if you sell a million records, you could still be in debt because you owe the record company that upfront money.
Well, right. They fronted to you. It's an advance. The word was escaping me. Right. And that's what a 360 deal is. They own, because it used to be back in the day. Thank you, Jack. You hit you right on the head. Thank you. They used to, back in the day, they never had a cut. The record labels never had a cut of the touring or the merchandise. That was all money that went into the pockets of the artist. And then once the streaming wars happened, once that started with like Napster and all the free downloads, they started to restructure their deals. And now it's a 360. So they want everything, a cut of everything that you make. Now, if the record label advances you $150K or even like $250K, or let's just say $500,000, right? For the purposes of math, right? Well, that's for your recording time in the studio. That's for paying for producers and engineers and guest artists. If there's if you're doing rap, like if you're buying a beat from DJ Premier or The Alchemist, that costs you money, and all that money, and that also goes into your marketing campaign. You need to throw that money at like doing events and shit. Buying your initial merchandise, paying for the record promotion or the record printing itself when they used to actually print physical copies. But you're right, Meanie's right. Like, you still have to pay that money back. So if you go on tour and, like, let's just say for the Great Malenko, if you're releasing that album and they sell, 500,000 copies, they may still owe the record label money. And they're still in the red, and they're still contractually obligated to provide the record label another 3 albums. So you're consistently like in the red with this company. And that's why people are like, well, you're a musician, you don't make any money. Well, it's like that. Or you should be rich. Well, it's like, you don't understand the back end of that, So now you're touring to give money back. It's a racket, dude. And the streaming, don't even get me started on the streaming. I mean, Spotify, like, you get literally less than pennies on the dollar. If you, for every 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 streams you get. It's nothing. There's no royalties in that whatsoever.
I was just watching Jericho talk about like he was on the Real Geordie podcast, and they're talking about what consider in today's day and age what's considered a gold record, and they say it's a couple million streams equal a couple 100,000 buys in that world. So like you have to almost get like a couple million streams of a song to be considered, to get a gold record, because he just got a gold record for the Fozzy album.
Right.
And he was just talking about the equation of streams versus, counting as, sales in the modern world or something like that. It was bizarre.
And
bizarre.
Apparently, according to this, because I don't know this for sure, but allegedly, because we want to make sure we stay out of trouble with legal, allegedly, Spotify is not really designed to be artist friendly, as most of those streaming places aren't. I've worked in music. I've just recently put out something with a bunch of guys that I work with that just landed on streaming, but we're not going to make any kind of real dollar on that unless one of the songs blows up. And what's the potential of that? There's so much content in the sea right now. Like, what's really the potential of something like that happening? But if you're, it's like the streaming is just not artist friendly. And the industry is not really artist friendly unless you're somebody like Ludacris, who owned his own name before we went in. There's ways to get around it, but it's very far and few between. Stevie,
the most famous way to get out of it was TLC, where they just declared bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And that got them out of their contract with their music, the music label. Because the label was like, oh, you owed, like everything we just said, you owe us all this money. They're like, fuck it, and went and filed bankruptcy and got out of the deal. Just kind of crazy.
It's nuts, man. I know. Well, I think the story about what's it called, Green Day. They did those albums 3 in a row, and I thought that it was to try to get them out of a specific portion of their deal. Is that correct? Can anybody fact check me on that? I think that might be the story, because they did like 3 in a row so they could try to get off of whatever label they were on, to like give it more like, hey, we're giving you all of these right now.
Frank Zappa, I think, famously did something like where he owed the record label X amount of records, and he just recorded them all at once and handed them over. Here you go. and that forced, record labels to restructure their deal.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. You could go back to Prince and, what happened with him and his record contract and owning his masters. There's a famous story about Nas, the rapper Nas, wanting to work with Prince. And he approached him and he's like, hey, I'd love to collaborate. And Prince just flat out asked him, do you own your own masters? And he was like, well, no, I don't. He says, well, come back to me when you do. Because he wanted to make sure, because he knew it was going to be a hit. Nas and Prince would be a fucking banger of a record. But he's not going to help him do anything because that money's just going to the record label. And he did that. Apparently that was common in his world. But it's a shame, man. It's really, all of these things are just not really good for any of the artists. But what's good right now, Meanie, is a question for you, sir.
What was that bit? What would that be?
Are you ready to ask Meanie?
I would love to.
It's time to ask Meanie anything.
Ask me something.
It's the shits.
I can't remember what regular air smells like.
Don't forget to tweet us your questions at Mind of the Meanie using the hashtag AskMeanie, and you may hear your question on the show. Meanie, I do not have anything sparkly or bubbly today, just my coffee that's empty now. What do you got?
We went to Aldi's the other day, and this piqued my interest. It's the brand is Pure Aqua, and it's sparkling water flavored with coffee and caramel flavors.
Ooh, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, so that sounds pretty cool. Let me try to Sandman this one. This can's a little thin, so it might be easier. So
there you go.
And apologies to the people watching. I'm not giving you the finger right now. So
just me.
So 3, 2, 1, and oh,
attaboy. Attaboy. Don't forget.
Shout out to Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, because you just played the sound, my favorite Bret Hart soundbite.
It's the shits.
Yeah. I watched the Rivals. There's a show with Freddie Prinze Jr. hosts.
Oh, no shit.
And it's like a round table, and they talk about the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels thing with new interviews. And I watched that last night. It was really good. I wish it was a little longer. It's like 45 minutes, but still good.
That's
really
awesome.
Good.
I can't wait to check it out. I'm also looking forward to watching the biography on A&E, because apparently, like, they tell a bunch of the people's stories, and my concern is always like, well, we've already heard this, oh, it's the Monday Night Wars, oh, it's this. It's like, well, is there new stuff to talk about? Is there new perspectives to look at here? And I'm excited to take a look at them. Let's start with this one. Jolski, which is a great name. Jolski wants to know, I just want a Meanie diatribe, deep dive on his Van Halen thoughts. I'm old and a hard David Lee Roth guy. So if he wants to expand on why he's stuck with them, I'll respectfully be all ears.
Fucking Eddie Van Halen's the greatest guitar player in the fucking world. Why would I stop listening because Dave quit the fucking band? It's like the Eagles traded, their quarterback. Am I going to stop fucking rooting for the fucking Eagles? David Lee, was Dave a great part of it? Dave was a good, great front man. Singer, when they first signed to Warner Brothers, there was fucking talk about having Sammy Hagar join the band before Van Halen won, because Ted Templeman thought, in the word of Bret Hart, he thought his singing was the shits. And then, fucking Dave had to go get vocal lessons and stuff like that to try to learn how to sing and shit like that. He's a good front man. They did, what they did was great, but eventually, you can't be a fucking 30 or 40-year-old man on stage in assless chaps, just bozy bopping all over the fucking place.
Scoobity bop, doo bop.
Yeah, what they did in those first 6 records was amazing, and I love it. But when it comes down to it, Eddie Van Halen's the second. To me, Eddie Van Halen's the greatest guitar player in the world. I've said this before. He's, in my opinion, he's the greatest guitar player in the world. Second, I'll give you I'll spot you Jimi Hendrix, because he came first, But in terms of creativity, with playing the instrument, and he invented so much stuff for the guitar. He's got his own line of amplifiers and guitars out. He reinvented it. He literally reinvented the guitar with drop D tuning and stuff like that. Or he invented devices that made the, look, I don't play guitar, so I'm not even gonna fucking pretend I know what I'm talking about with the actual mechanics. Like somebody tell me how to run a high spot. It's never done a high spot. But it's just when you have the world's best guitar player in the world, I don't care who's fucking singing.
Right.
Some of those Sammy, I've been listening to a lot of the Sammy stuff lately, and Eddie's a fucking tone hunter. Some of the sounds he gets out of that fucking thing is amazing. The Balance record, his sound on that fucking album's amazing. It's funny because like I'll listen to bands and sometimes I don't even fucking pay attention to the lyrics. I pay attention to the fucking groove,
right?
The vibe of the song. When I was a kid, I used to go out and buy albums, buy tapes or whatever, and I would lay there and read every fucking single line or note, every single lyric. I miss tapes because like you open up and you smell the ink.
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, oh. It's the best fucking thing. I'd get a fucking bag full of wrestling magazines and go to the mall, get a new, band, get a new, cassette tape, lay in bed and read my magazines and then, play the album and just read everything. Who engineered it? Okay. Just read everything. And, I don't even know how I got down that sidebar, but yeah, Eddie Van Halen's the greatest guitar player in the world. So what? He played keyboards. Fuck it. He said, my favorite Eddie line is like, I'm a musician. If I want to play the fucking Bavarian cheese whistle, I will.
The Bavarian cheese whistle.
Yeah. If Eddie Van Halen made a record of him fucking farting through a kazoo, I would fucking buy it. I grew up in the era of MTV where, you know, you would see like, not only see music videos, but you would see interviews and personality profiles and specials. And there was just something about him so like, I would love to hang out with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You get, and that's, you know, something that's maybe missing from wrestling. You know, that's why I think, you know, Tough Enough was such a great show, because it showed the people behind, you know, behind the scenes, you know, trying to make it in the business, and people connect with people personally. They're more likely to be invested in the person as a character.
Right.
So, and, you know, I would watch, you know, all the Van Halen. I had VHSs of Van Halen specials, interviews, videos, live shit. And I just wanted to hang out with a dude. You know, his personality, his sense of humor, shit like that. So, yeah. Was Dave great? Yeah. All right. But, you know, fuck it. You know, to me, Ed Van Halen's always been about Eddie.
Yeah. Unquestionably. Eddie was the guy.
Yeah. Eddie was so good that, you know, Dave had to go get an Eddie clone with Steve Vai to handle Eddie's stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny. I like the Sammy era stuff, but I can't bring myself to go see him now, like solo, even though he's got Michael Anthony with him. I would love to go see him, but I don't like Sammy's guitar player because I don't like the way he plays Eddie's stuff.
Interesting. But I think that's a testament to Eddie Van Halen too, though, is the fact that like you can change out. I mean, they had 3 lead singers, and each one of those records was pretty solid. I mean, not everything was great, right? But like it was like David had a certain style, and then Sammy had a certain style, and then the name escapes me, the third singer, but like he had a certain style that wasn't. What is his name?
Gary Cherone from Extreme.
That's it, Gary Cherone. And Gary had his own style, you know, like, but it all worked because it was still Eddie. The nexus of it was always Eddie Van Halen, like the core of it.
Yeah, the mistake they made with Gary Cherone. I mean, they were lucky they struck gold with Sammy.
Right.
But Sammy was a successful solo artist coming off one of the biggest hits of the 80s with I Can't Drive 55. So you had the merging of 2 fan bases, you know, between Sammy's fan base and Van Halen's fan base. I think when it came to, you know, trying to, you know, go to the well, as Gorilla Monsoon would say, they went to the well one too many times.
Right.
You bring in Gary, and you know what? The Gary record's good. But they probably, at that point, should have just called it something else.
Yeah.
But I know where Eddie's coming from, where, look, it's my fucking name.
Yeah.
The mistake they made with Gary is I think they should have went out and toured first. Just go out. Don't go in the fucking studio. Just go out and tour and let people listen to Gary sing those fucking The best thing about Gary was he could sing the Sammy and he could sing the Dave stuff.
Right.
And he's got that raspy voice, kind of like a Sammy. When he sings Sammy stuff, he sounds like Sammy, but he could also handle the Dave stuff. So you're getting the best of Sammy, best of Dave, you know. And that tour was really good. And that Van Halen 3 was a good album. It was a bit experimental because it was more that, you know, the album was more of like you know, an Eddie Van Halen solo record, you know, but it was still good. You know, just a lot of it, you know, some songs on there, you know, you could tell, you know, hear his influences, because I know Eddie was a big Peter Gabriel fan, and there's like a song on there called Once that I was like, oh, this is fucking Peter Gabriel right here.
Right.
And great song, you know, great singer. They just probably should have just toured first before they put out the album.
Yeah.
And, you know, did jello a little bit, you know, but to me, it's always been about Eddie.
Here's some crazy things I did not know until right now as I was reading this.
No pun intended.
Yeah. They offered it to 2 other people. So initially, when David Lee Roth left the band, Eddie Van Halen invited Patti Smith of Scandal, which is a band, I guess, from the 80s, as a woman lead singer. That would have been pretty rad.
Yeah.
That would have been a really rad sound.
Well, they were just throwing names out there. They're like, should we do an all-star record? Because they were fucking sitting around going, they're fucking devastated. Fucking,
I'm sure
they're in a band with a guy and he wants to go fucking be a movie star. He wrote a script for a movie called Crazy from the Heat, which eventually became the name of his autobiography. And he wanted to fucking be a movie star. He wanted to, do movies and be a showman.
And it's crazy because like they had a huge fucking record. 1984 was a huge fucking record. And then he just leaves. He's just like, oh, no, I'm out of here. See ya. And it's like, well, what the fuck, man? Like, no shit. No wonder they're going to be pissed off. But here's a name I was surprised about reading. Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates was offered too, which is crazy. Like, that is nuts. What do you think a Daryl Hall fronted Van Halen record would have sounded like?
No clue, but I'm trying to think of what songs it. Like maybe the one song I could hear him doing is "I'll Wait" off of 1984, but that's about it.
That's wild.
Yeah, but Dave wanted to go be a movie star. I had a point and it fucking disappeared.
Well, I was going to say was one of the crazier stories about David Lee Roth and Van Halen, or Eddie Van Halen rather, was there was a beef apparently, and maybe you'll probably be able to correct me because you seem to be the Van Halen historian here, but about the Beat It record by Michael Jackson, which I'm not sure if you know this, but this is actually true. I researched this and I found out it's true. When they were playing back, or when Eddie was playing in the studio, the speakers lit on fire. The monitor speakers lit on fire because it was such a crazy solo.
Yeah.
But the reason he's not credited on that record is because David Lee Roth didn't want him to be credited on the record. Is that right? Or is it the studio?
No. Here's the deal. It's I love this story because the band was on hiatus. They're taking a break from touring and all that shit. Everybody was on vacation. Mike was away. Eddie, Al was away. Dave was away. Nobody was around. So Eddie's, gets a phone call and he answers and the guy goes, "Hey, this is Quincy Jones." And he thinks it's a fucking prank call. He goes, and he fucking hangs up on him. Quincy Jones calls back again. "Hey, blah, 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 blah." And he's like, "Stop calling, you fucking asshole," and hangs up, right? So, Steve Lukather, who I've grown to love, the guitar player from Toto, because Michael Jackson, the backing band on Michael Jackson's Thriller album was Toto.
Wow. No shit.
They were all. Toto was just a group of studio musicians.
Holy shit, dude!
Played on every fucking record.
You just blew my fucking mind with that. I had no idea that was true.
Steve Lukather was the guitar player on Olivia Newton-John's Physical.
Wow.
Guitar player from Toto.
Wow.
And Richard H. I hope I say this name right. So Steve Lukather calls and goes, "Hey, Quincy Jones is trying to call you." He's like, "Oh, he's real?" That's just because Eddie's so out of the fucking loop. He doesn't know who fucking Quincy Jones is. So he calls him back. Eddie goes into the studio. And basically he said, "Michael left the room. I listened to it, and Eddie rearranged the fucking song from how they had it done." And he moved I'm not even going to try to. He moved something around and did the solo. And Michael came back in the room. He's like, "Hey man, I hope you don't mind. I kind of rearranged your song." And they played the thing for Michael. And he's like, Michael likes it when he goes, "Oh, that sounds really good." But to get back to your point, Eddie said declined to take a pay cut from it, or to decline to get paid, because he said it took me literally a couple minutes. And it felt like he said he would have felt guilty taking money for it because he just was in there for like a couple minutes and just blazed out a fucking solo and left.
Right. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
The other fucking funny story is they were recording on some kind of tape. I forget what it was, but like there's like a code on the tape, and he cut up the fucking tape to rearrange the song, and it kind of like threw everything out of fucking whack. So, Steve Lukather told about how like Quincy Jones had them go back in and record their parts for Beat It because Eddie had rearranged a lot of the shit.
Right.
That like the tapes weren't lining up. There's some kind of coded tape that they use, and he cut through the fucking thing and it wasn't syncing back up. So they had to go back and re-record it. But
that's crazy.
What they had with Eddie's solo is, they didn't want to fuck that up. Here's the funny thing. Eddie was like, you know what? I did it because nobody was around for me to ask permission to do it.
Smart man.
He's like, who's going to know that I did this, kid's fucking record,
Yeah.
So Eddie said he was in a Tower Records in Hollywood. He's, shopping and he's in line and Beat It comes on the radio. And the guy in front of him goes, listen to this guy trying to be like Eddie Van Halen. And he was like, oh,
That's funny.
And Beat It kind of threw a wedge in the relationship with Ed and Dave because 1984 comes out. They were one of their biggest singles with Jump.
Right.
And Beat It was the number one album. So Eddie playing on Beat It cock blocked his own album from going to number one. With he cock blocked 1984 from going to number one playing on Beat It.
Have you? Yeah. So speaking of John's one of my favorite artists of all time, John Mayer, because I'm wearing a shirt today from the tour. Did you ever hear the cover? I'm not sure you're a Fall Out Boy guy, but have you ever heard of Beat It?
No, I've seen John Mayer do Van Halen's Panama.
Wow.
And he's got the replica Frankenstein guitar Eddie plays, and he'll play that while doing Panama. I liked
John Mayer's solo on that song because I'll send you a link, but it's Fall Out Boy I like John Mayer. John is probably top 3 one of my favorite artists of all time. I've seen him live a bunch. He's absolutely fantastic. But his solo is reminiscent of Van Halen, but I think it's almost like his own style because how are you gonna replicate this, right? When in 2009, I remember having a conversation with Chad Ginsburg of CKY because they were covering Beat It at all of their live shows. Michael Jackson died June 25th. So from that point on, that night they had a show somewhere. And from that point until the end of the Carver City tour, they covered Beat It. And I was expecting Chad to solo, because I don't know if you've ever heard him solo before, but he's incredible. And I remember asking him just as an off question, I was like, how come you don't do the Eddie part? And he was like, why would I do the Eddie part when Eddie does it the best already? And I was like, okay, that's fair. Fair. That's a fair question. So I think for me, when I think about that cover, I'm like, I appreciate the fact that John didn't try to do a full Eddie cover. I appreciate that he did his own thing on that. Yeah. But that's cool. One other side note on this, because now we're talking music, and I really like this part of when we do this stuff. But I learned stuff. There was this great Twitter feed where it was tell me about the coolest black industry stories when they're talking about African American artists and different things in the musical world. It's this deep dive into history of music, and I'm just fucking all about that. But apparently, the Batman soundtrack from 1989 was supposed to be a collaborative record between Prince and Michael Jackson, where Prince would play the Joker part and Michael Jackson would play the Batman songs. And for whatever reason, I guess, industry politics didn't allow that to happen. But one of the that was a legit beef too. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I think Prince was trying to be let's try to fix this and let's make it work. But I think Michael probably had some more to do with that than what they let on. But anyway, so the next time they try to collaborate together, Michael Jackson wants him on Bad. And so he sends him a copy of the record, and Prince listens to it and he goes, the first line is, your butt is mine. Whose butt? You're not going to talk about my butt. Of course, so he's being petty, right? All right. Prince re-records the entire fucking song and sends it back to Michael Jackson, right? Sends it back to him, totally remastered and re-recorded. He goes, you should release the record like this, because then I'll do it. And Michael was like, nope, I'm not doing this. And it was that's, I think, another part of that. But it's just so wild to know that there's all these intricate parts of these different, and how Prince and Van Halen and Michael Jackson, how they all kind of intertwine with each other. I just find that stuff so fascinating.
I was listening to the Ted Templeman audiobook. Ted Templeman, great producer. He discovered Van Halen, discovered the Doobie Brothers, all this stuff.
Wow.
And he said he was also an executive at Warner Brothers. He had an office, and Prince would go in his office to listen to the music and stuff like that. And Prince was trying to figure out how he could get as big as Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Prince, records his own stuff, produces his own stuff. And Ted Templeman goes, well, why don't you do a collaboration with Quincy Jones? And fucking Prince just stormed out of his office. He was just like, he just left and just fucking, because he wants to do his own shit. You know?
Yeah, he doesn't want anyone to tell him how to do it. That makes sense.
Yeah, records his own shit, writes his own shit, produces his own shit.
I'm sure.
Kind of like Eddie,
I'm sure that was probably insulting to him. Like, oh, well, I don't need Quincy Jones. Like I could see it from Prince's point of view where he's like, well, I don't need Quincy Jones to do this record. I don't need him to do it. But I don't know if there's really anyone who could have been as big as Michael Jackson in the 80s. Even in spite of the 1984 record coming out at the same time as Thriller, that record was, Thriller is like arguably the most popular music record of all time. I don't think anyone could have, no matter what, whether or not Eddie played on the record or not, I don't think anybody would have ever gotten as big as that. But,
and bringing it back to Daryl Hall.
Oh yeah.
Daryl Hall said when they were doing We Are the World, Michael Jackson comes up and goes, I hope you don't mind, I stole the bass line from your song. And the opening bass riff from Billie Jean is supposed to be a nod to Hall & Oates' I can't go for that. No can do. The bass in that Hall & Oates song inspired the bass riff for Billie Jean.
No shit.
When they're doing We Are the World, Michael Jackson goes up there, Daryl Hall, I hope you don't mind me taking your bass riff from your song.
Wow.
Wow. But, speaking of Prince and Michael Jackson, have you seen the video where fucking James Brown brings them both on stage?
Yes, that is incredible.
Yeah, only James Brown can fucking get that done.
Absolutely.
And Prince are on stage with them.
I think that's the only time that they were ever actually like together recorded, like performing or even in the general vicinity of each other. Because that was a real, I would love to get like a real deep analysis of that story, because I think, like I said, like everybody acts like Prince is just this like super, petty bitchy dude. But Michael Jackson knew what the fuck he was doing. He bought out that whole thing from Paul McCartney. He knew exactly what he was doing. And like McCartney taught him how to do it. But I think, to be clear, like,
and he told McCartney he was going to do it, and McCartney thought he was joking.
Well, because McCartney told him that I think it was like this weird thing where like McCartney and Yoko Ono and I think maybe the other two guys were like involved in buying their masters back or something. And Michael Jackson bought the catalog, like the company that owned like Elvis Presley's masters and the Beatles. So it wasn't just like specifically the Beatles, but Paul taught him everything he knew. He was like, this is how you make your money. You own these masters. You own these copies. He did the same thing to Eminem. When Eminem dissed him in the mid-2000s, he was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to stick it where it hurts. And now Michael Jackson's estate owns a bunch of Eminem's masters from like his first three popular albums. But
wow,
Michael knew what the fuck he was doing. He wasn't stupid. He may have been an odd duck, but he certainly knew exactly what he was doing when it came to that kind of stuff.
He thought he was Peter Pan.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, I would love that. If anybody can recommend to me, if there's anything out there about the Prince and Michael Jackson beef or anything like that, I would love to read that. Camerata has a quick question before we go into the next Ask Meanie part.
Before we do that,
yeah.
Before we move on from the Van Halen topic,
yeah,
get these if you want to get into the Van Halen world. Get the book Van Halen Rising by Greg Renoff, and then after that, listen to Running with the Devil by Noel Monk, who was their tour manager. Greg Renoff covers Van Halen from their childhood up until they get signed. Noel Monk covers from when they get signed to 1984, and eventually when Dave splits off, he goes with Dave. Then get the book Unchained which is a series of interviews, transcribed interviews with Eddie Van Halen, which is cool because in the Renoff books, in the Noel Monk book, and you also get the Ted Templeman book.
Okay.
Because that covers, he covers Van Halen, but he covers everything. There's a lot of things where they talk about Eddie, and then I listened to Unchained book, and he starts talking about the things they said about him in the book indirectly. You know, he's
right.
like on the 1984 record, Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers wrote a song on 1984, and they were having problems with writing the song "I'll Wait." So Michael McDonald wrote some of the stuff. Now Ted Templeman says he wrote the song for the album, and they didn't give him credit, and they screwed him on royalties, which Michael McDonald sued for. Now I listened to the Eddie Van Halen book, and he's like, yeah, fucking Ted Templeman had a recorder under his desk and recorded Michael McDonald listening to the song and took his ideas to Dave. They recorded a song and we got fucking sued. So you hear both sides of the fucking, you know, stuff like that. You hear both sides of this story. So,
wow.
Now, if you want to dive into the Sammy years, get Sammy Hagar's book, which in hindsight, he says he was a little bit rough on the Van Halen brothers, which he kind of wish he wasn't, but you know, that's you know, so Van Halen Rising, Running with the Devil, get the Ted Templeman book, and get the Unchained book. You could get the Sammy book, and also get Steve Lukather's book from you know, Steve Lukather, the guitar player for Toto. His book's fucking fantastic.
I would love
playing. He was playing for some jazz musician. He was like 19. You know, he started playing Boz Scaggs. He started playing with Boz Scaggs when he was a teenager. You know, walking in buying cars with cash and shit like that.
Jesus
but like
Christ,
talks about working with Eddie. All the bands he worked with is fucking amazing. He talks about Eddie a lot on there too. So him and Eddie were fucking tight. You know,
one thing I want to mention, this is because you brought up the Doobie Brothers, and I feel like I would be remiss not to mention it since we were talking about all this musical stuff. There is a rumor out there that Michael Jackson put out many years ago that he sang the high notes on probably their most recognizable song, What a Fool Believes. And when you listen to it, you hear it, you can't unhear it. Now, the Doobies have maintained that, you know, that's not accurate, but it's like, but it sounds like Michael Jackson singing these fucking high notes on that record, guys. Like, it definitely sounds like this. If it's not, you probably have the best Michael Jackson impersonator of all time. Mark and Dryden wants to know. That was fucking fantastic, by the way, guys. Please continue to ask us music questions because the more, like, I know this is a wrestling podcast, but, like, I don't want to speak for Meanie, but I love talking music, and I know Meanie, I feel like Meanie does as well.
Our tagline is we talk about movies, music, sports, and tons of useless knowledge, which is, you know, this is my wheelhouse. You know?
And me too. And that's one of the things that, like, when we were getting together to do the show together, when Josh passed the baton, you know, I think one of the episodes we did, we were talking about music, and it like really kind of like both sparked us up. And I really love any questions you have about music stuff, guys, please, or send us random tidbits so we can talk about them, because this is fucking great shit. Mark and Dryden wants to know, which of these dream matches would you guys have liked to have seen if they would have happened? Eddie Guerrero versus Bret Hart, Eddie Guerrero versus Shawn Michaels, The Rock versus Bret Hart, or Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle? I already know my answer.
There's two of them. I would have loved to see Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels, and Kurt Angle. I saw Owen Hart against Kurt Angle.
See that I'll never get over how cool that must have fucking been.
Dude, I wish there were smartphones back then. I would have recorded it right off the monitor.
They've only, and we've talked about it here before, it's like they only ever have released one photograph from that, and I think it's Angle slamming Owen Hart. And it's like, why wouldn't you guys just fucking release this footage? Like, I'm sure it's somewhere in an archive. But I think for me, the money would probably be Eddie Guerrero versus Bret Hart. All of them sound great. Like, I would have loved to have seen Bret Hart and The Rock and Eddie and Shawn, but like, I'm an Eddie mark, so anything Eddie is in, I'm gonna fucking love. But I feel like Bret Hart and Eddie Guerrero would have torn the fucking house down.
I was watching Rivals last night with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, And I was like, dude, if they could have just got past the heat they had, they could have had matches. They could have had their own Flair Steamboat rivalry.
Absolutely.
How they kind of came up the ranks together through WWE, through being in tag teams, being singles competitors, singles champions, intercontinental champion, world champion, the Iron Man match, and the Montreal Screwjob. If, take away the Screwjob, that match was going swimmingly well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fantastic up until
the
Screwjob. But they could have just fucking had their own fucking series like Flair Steamboat, It's a shame.
WSD 7 Layers wants to know, what's Meanie's thoughts about his video game appearance in WWF WrestleMania 2000 WWF SmackDown?
Fucking amazing. I'm still friends. The THQ guys came out to, I want to say Seattle, and also they came to Anaheim. I'm still friends with one of them, a dude named Sanders Keel. Sanders Keel was the witness to when I stopped the concert with a fart too. We went to the whiskey to see a Van Halen tribute band called the Atomic Punks, and I fucking farted, and the singer just couldn't sing.
Please stop farting.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah, that story.
Incredible.
But no, it was pretty cool. I forget the guy who approached me. He's like, "Oh, we're adding you to the next video game." I'm like, amazing. Because I knew I was a big fan of WCW Revenge and Virtua Pro Wrestling, which was like All Japan's version of that game in Japan. And it's fucking cool because, they take photos of everything,
Right.
Your face, tattoos, all this. So, like, all my tattoos are in the game and stuff. Like, if you take off my boots, you see my Van Halen tattoo. You see my Pop tattoo. I got my first tattoo was on my right leg, tribute to my grandfather. Just says Pop with the Irish colors through it. But it was awesome, and I knew it was being the video game nerd. I knew that when they made the next game for Japan, my dance was going to be in the game because my meanie dance is in WrestleMania 2000. And they just kept it in. So it was in No Mercy. It was in the Japanese version, Virtual Pro Wrestling, which was basically with the All Japan guys. So, you can make me in all the games because all my taunts were in there. So, and SmackDown was cool too, but I was just, I was like a hidden guy. Like you had to unlock me.
Yeah.
So to speak. And that's when I was, trying to do the new look with the new paint and new hair and all that stuff. I was trying to find my way, and the look was all right, but I never played that SmackDown game because I didn't like it because I was such a loyalist to the Aki or whatever, whoever made No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, at WCW Revenge, that engine was like an amazing engine that they, it was so simple.
Right.
I just tried playing SmackDown and I just, played it for a couple minutes. I went, fuck this. I can't play any of the new WWE 2K games because I can't get a grasp of what the controls are. So it's like,
Let me ask you one follow-up question. Adam from Downingtown wants to know, what's cooler to you being a pro wrestler? Like, what is a cooler thing for you? Being immortalized in a video game or being in the Royal Rumble?
I don't know. Being a Rumble was cool.
Yeah.
I took a piece of knowledge that I heard from Raven and inquired it into that. He's like, one time Raven was like, when it comes to the Rumble, the best thing to do is get together with somebody and plan a spot, just to kind of pop, get the crowd up a little bit instead of just going in and punching and kicking. So I got together with Tiger Ali Singh. I was like, hey man, when I come out there, just, can we do something together? He's like, sure. And he's like, just put the boots to me, give me a couple shots, shoot me off. I'll duck your clothesline, give you a clothesline, and then we'll powder off. And we did exactly that. And I did the meanie dance. I think I got a favorable response in the Rumble. But and being a video game is awesome too, because that's forever.
Right.
And probably one of the fucking biggest checks I ever got for pro wrestling. You know? Like good money.
I can imagine.
The thing that sucks about, being an independent contractor is 40 to 50% of your fucking money goes to taxes,
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, you pay your state tax, your federal tax, and then this didn't count towards video games, but like, when you're, touring, you're paid tax in every city you wrestle in. So,
God.
if, say you're making six figures, once you whittle down taxes, living expenses, you don't have that much left over to actually pay your house, car, and stuff like that. Take all that away. It's like, what do you have? What the fuck do you have?
Yeah.
But the video game was cool. I hate I don't like the Sophie's Choice thing, with
the Sophie's Choice. Yeah. No, I'm just curious. Like, I'm always, it's just like, hey, what was like, as somebody who was in wrestling, like, what do you think would be like a higher item on that list? But I could see both of them being pretty rad.
WrestleMania.
Go ahead.
I wish I could have been in No Mercy too, but
yeah,
to me, that was the ultimate. That was the fucking peak.
Ivan Rivers, last question before we wrap up for today. This is an interesting one. If you, Mrs. Meanie, Goober, and hell, even Al Snow were played by existing Muppet characters in an all-Muppet Henson Family adaptation of Mind of the Meanie, which ones would y'all be?
I don't know.
That's
a good question. But I don't know.
Maybe Animal, probably for me.
Animal could be a lot of people in my life.
What about Josh? Who would Josh be? Because obviously we gotta give a nod to real dad Josh Chernoff.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
It's a good question.
Maybe a sarcastic Kermit the Frog.
Yeah,
I could see that. What's that?
Even more sarcastic Kermit. He could be a little bit sarcastic.
Yeah, not
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, actually, you know what? I'd probably be Gonzo. That's probably who I would be, because I'm just an obnoxious human being. So, and Gonzo's an obnoxious character. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Gonzo.
Yeah. Good question. I'm blanking on that. Is there one more question?
That was it. That was the last question for the day. No problem. I loved, again, ask us the music questions all day long. Tweet us at Mind of the Meanie using the hashtag AskMeanie, and we will ask them on the show. Meanie, thank you so much for doing this show. As always, I am grateful to you, sir, and to the Pod Squad. But more importantly, where can people find you on your social media?
If you would like to follow the Blue Meanie, a.k.a. me, you can follow me on all forms of social media. Go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which I don't know. At Blue Meanie, BWO, on all forms of social media. If you want to support the Blue Meanie, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie /Mind of the Meanie. When you buy a shirt from prowrestlingtees.com/Mind of the Meanie, all the money goes back into keeping the lights on here at Mind of the Meanie. If you want to, I just got a package from them. I got some, I finally got myself an Acknowledge Meanie shirt from my store. I'm going to start rocking, at signings and in the ring. But yeah, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie /Mind of the Meanie. Also, Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Use coupon code Meanie and save 10%. Rod Hicks is doing an amazing job over there. They just had a relaunch. He sold the company, but he's still on board and doing some good stuff over there at Collar and Elbow. So go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Use coupon code Meanie, save 10%. Now, if you're want to accentuate, those shirts you got from Pro Wrestling Tees and Collar and Elbow, and want to look really good, and you got a really good beard, got some beard strength, go to madcatbeardcare.com. Josh over there at Mr. Josh Thornton over at Mad Cat Beard Care is doing a fantastic job. He's taking care of the cats. So go over there and get yourself some blue spruce over at madcatbeardcare.com. They got tons of fragrances from different wrestlers. So go over there, get some beard oil, some beard balm, and smell good and look good and feel good over at madcatbeardcare.com. If you would like to have hired the Blue Meanie to send somebody a video message, go to cameo.com/BlueMeanieBWO for birthdays, holidays, well wishes, whatever your heart desires. Go to cameo.com/BlueMeanieBWO. Also at PressandTees.com/BlueMeanie. They have shoot videos where I can do the same thing as Cameo, just a different method of doing it. So, if you want me to reach out and, give somebody some motivation or whatever, go to cameo.com/BlueMeanieBWO or PressandTees.com/BlueMeanie. This Saturday, July 23rd, in the year of 2022, Legends of Hamburg. I will be at the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest. It's a really cool fan fest going on. Tons of wrestlers will be there. I was just watching footage from when I was there as a fan. I was at the Sabu Cactus Jack match in the Hamburg Fieldhouse where, they try to break a bottle. Cactus Jack tried to break a bottle over Sabu's head like 7 times and it won't fucking bust. And that's also the place where Roddy Piper broke the coconut over Jimmy Snuka's head. So Legends of Hamburg at the historic Hamburg Fieldhouse, July 23rd. Go to legendsofhamburg.com. And that's going to be a lot of fun. But most importantly, Mr. Barnard, where can we find you?
Well, thank you, Blue Meanie. I appreciate that. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at thisisgoober. Yes, it's my handle. No, I'm not changing it. It's a brand, pal. You can also go to prowrestlingtees.com/Foundation Radio and help support my other program, Foundation Radio, and pick up a t-shirt there. You can listen to my other program, Foundation Radio, at foundationradio.net. Have a lot of really great interviews, everyone from Rob Van Dam to CBS reporter and chief election correspondent Robert Costa. Lots of stuff for everyone over there, so foundationradio.net. Don't forget to patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. Follow us. Be part of our pod squad. Watch us record early every week and get early access to the program and lots of other cool things Meanie and I have coming down the pipeline. Don't forget, Meanie and I will be at Icons of Wrestling August 6th in Philadelphia at the 2300 Arena. Meanie will be appearing there as a talent. I will just be there as a mark saying hi to Ken Shamrock. But I'll be there. Come and say hi if you see me. That is it for us this week. Thank you all so much. Check us out on Twitter, Mind of the Meanie. For the Blue Meanie, I'm Adam Barnard. Join us again each and every week as we take a trip to the mind of the Meanie. Peace.
This episode of Mind of the Meanie was recorded and produced by Adam Barnard and was engineered by Carl Pinnell. Additional production and narration provided by Sam Krebs. Our executive producers are Josh Chernoff, Adam Barnard, and the Blue Meanie. Our opening theme is performed by the Swamp Candles. Our closing theme is performed by Chikara. The show contains original music produced by Enrichment. Get additional bonus content by becoming our patron on Patreon at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mind of the Meanie. This has been a Butts Carlton media production in conjunction with the MLW Radio Network. Butts Carlton, proprietor.
Blue World Order. Dad, why is Blue Meanie's brain out?
The world of MLW Radio never stops.